we are glad to celebrate it with you. I really can't believe that this is our December town hall. I don't quite know how that happened. It was it was March 17th, I think, when we first started this craziness. We met weekly at first, and then by June or July, moved to monthly. And you guys have been so loyal and really stuck with us month after month. And we're still here, and you're still here. And I'm glad that you are. We've got a packed agenda, so I'm going to get right to it and launch into what we're going to learn and go over today. So, a couple of housekeeping announcements. First, we held a very successful Home Builder Growth Summit on November 10th. And if you missed the live stream event, no worries. We now have an all access pass available for you on demand. So all you have to do is go to buildergrowthsummit.com, buildergrowthsummit.com, and you can purchase an on-demand all-access pass. And what that means is you have access to all of the keynotes, all the concurrent sessions, the Meet the Pros, the digital vault of 25 interviews of the best and the best in our industry. So basically, you have access to all of the content that was presented on the day of the summit, plus the digital vault interviews. And you can access them at any time for the next year from the comfort of your cubicle, your couch, your car, whatever makes sense to you, on demand. So it's really affordable, and it's there for you to continue your growth and to continue to learn. You'll be able to see the chat sessions that went on at the event, see the questions that were asked. You can basically participate in the entire thing at your own convenience. So it's buildergrowthsummit.com, and those are now available. Next announcement is make sure you save the date for our next town hall, which is January the 5th. Oh my God, what? Yes. I can't believe this, but January 5th, so the first Tuesday of every month at 4:00, that's Builder Town Hall Day. So I went ahead and updated the Zoom registration page today, and a number of you went ahead and registered for every single meeting for 2021. I had all these rolling in today. I couldn't believe it. It's so amazing that you did that. But for those of you that take it a month at the time, our next meeting will be January 5th, 2021. And just remember, this meeting is for anyone in the home building industry, sales and marketing always, but any discipline within our industry is welcome with our compliments. So you can invite anybody in your organization to attend. Everyone is welcome. Associate members, builder members, everybody. So we would love to have you. Okay, I also want to give you a heads up that we're going to try something new today. And I honestly have no idea how this is going to work out, but nothing like trying something new on a live stream. Yes. So in our second segment today, where we're going to talk about your top sales and marketing priorities for 2021, I'm going to invite those of you that are on with me right now live to participate live. So please go ahead and send a chat in to Angela and let her know if you're interested in us unmuting you. And if you're available even to be seen on camera, great. If you're not, we can just see you, listen to you via audio. You don't have to be on camera. But if you want us to show your camera and unmute you, we can do that. And so I'm looking for those of you that would be willing to share what are your top sales and marketing priorities for 2021. And if you have something that you're really focusing on for next year in terms of sales and marketing, we want to hear from you. So I'm giving you a heads up now. This is a chance to stretch out of your comfort zone and speak up in front of your peers, which for some of you will be hard and it will be a little bit scary, but it'll be good for you, right? Like eating broccoli and Brussels sprouts. So I'm giving you a heads up right now, and I would love to see a couple of you take the leap and go for it. Okay. If you don't, that segment is going to be terrible. And I've already told our panel that that segment could be really short and to get ready to come on quickly if none of you volunteer. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so here's our agenda for today. Segment 1, we're going to talk about some lessons learned from our Home Builder Growth Summit that we did on November 10th. I can't begin to tell you what a massive undertaking it is to do an all-day virtual summit. I learned a lot, and I thought I could share some of those lessons with you that you could then possibly apply to holding your own virtual events for next year. Because let's face it, I don't think you'll be planning any major in-person events through at least June of next year. I think, and of course it depends on your location. Some locations are more open than other locations. But if, for example, you do a company-wide event, depending on the size of your company, you may be asked to coordinate this virtually. You could be asked to coordinate a virtual realtor education event as part of your marketing. You could be asked to coordinate a design studio virtual event. You could be asked to coordinate something for your local home builders association as part of the sales and marketing council committees. There's a lot of ways that you could end up coordinating some kind of virtual event. And boy, did I learn a lot in what I did. So I'm going to share some of those lessons with you, number 1. Then, like I said, segment 2, we're going to talk about top priorities for next year. What should you be focusing on now for 2021 for success? I know it's hard to predict what's going to happen in this crazy dumpster fire of a COVID economy, but we'll do our best. And then in segment 3, a really hot topic right now, our Rockstar Panel, Matt Riley of Group 2, Kerry Mulcrone of Kerry & Co., and Angela McKay of ECI Lasso are going to lead and discuss setting customer expectations. How do we now control the customer experience by setting appropriate expectations that how to manage delays and have a good conversation about construction delays and scheduling, about price increases. There's some tough conversations that we need to now have, and they're going to lead that conversation and give you some do's and don'ts. And as always, please light up our chat with your free-form questions of anything that's hot topic to you right now. You can use the Q&A or the chat. All our panelists are standing by to help answer your questions along with everybody here in Town Hall. You guys are always good about helping each other and pitching in, and we're here to do that. Okay, so let's start with topic number 1, virtual events. What did I learn? I learned they are a lot of work. I learned that putting on a virtual event is so much more work than you possibly could ever think it's going to be. But that's way too broad and it's not really that helpful to you, is it? Okay, so lesson number 1, event experience, the technology and the engagement, ENG stands for engagement, experience really matters. So lesson number 1, event experience, and yes, this is a giant post-it note. I love it. Event experience really matters big time. So one of the things that I heard the most about the Home Builder Growth Summit was that the experience of that day was terrific. And I'm going to tell you why I think that was in just a minute and some of these other lessons learned. But what I heard the most over and over again was it felt like you were really there in real time, in person, having conversations in the hallway, engaging with each other. And so whatever you're designing that is virtual, you've got to think about how will this feel? Even though it's virtual, how can the experience feel as in person as possible? How can it feel as personalized? How can it feel as engaging, as real time, as conversational as possible? Now, the only trick to this is some of you, when you try to do this, you overcomplicate your virtual event. So not only have I, of course, hosted and produced a full day virtual summit now, I've also spoken at a lot of virtual conferences over the past few months. And I can tell you, in being a speaker at a number of them, that they tried to do really fun, clever things that kind of bombed, honestly. They sounded good, but there was too many steps. They were overcomplicated. They require too many pieces to come together. So keep it simple, but yet the experience has to be as in person and engaged as you could possibly make it. How do you do that? Second lesson. The virtual app / the platform really matters. So, oh, that's interesting. My Brio camera is like changing the color. Whoa, do y'all see that? Somebody write in on the chat. Do y'all see that? It's like, oh, it's like going blue. If I like lean in, the whole thing goes blue. Somebody write in and tell me, do y'all see that? That is insane. Okay, wait, lean out. Oh my God, that is so weird. It's going blue. Okay, we're learning things on the fly, people. We are learning things. I've never held up a giant yellow Post-it note at a Logitech Brio camera before. This thing's in HD. It's a 4 or 5K HD camera, and it's going blue when I hold this up. It's like adjusting. We're learning on the fly today. Okay, great. Just what I needed. Don't you love live TV? That's basically what this is. Okay. Anyway, second lesson learned. Yay, Mary. Virtual app platform matters. Yeah. So what you host your event on really matters. So what you want to do is select the right platform / app, software, if you will, that matches the type of event you're trying to host. Okay. So for a virtual summit type event, where you're wanting to have sponsors, you're wanting to have quote unquote exhibit booths, you're wanting to have breakout sessions and keynote sessions, we used a product called Whova, WHOVA. It's about a couple $1,000s for about 500 attendees, and it goes up from there. It starts at about 500 attendees. That's like the lowest license you can buy, and then it goes up. Okay. And there's a bunch of add-ons, blah, blah, blah. I definitely believe that you get what you pay for. I've participated as a speaker in a number of these different kinds of platforms. I've spoken in these virtual summit platforms that are free, and they operated like they were free. They crashed and burned, and they had terrible lag on them, and it was a disaster. So not good. But what you want to do when you're searching for, what do I want to use? What technology do I want to use to support my event? You got to really look at, well, what each of these platforms is not created equal. Now, they'll try to tell you that they are, but they aren't. And just like Microsoft Word is really good at creating documents, and PowerPoint is really good at creating slides, like each one of those pieces of software has what it creates best. Now, could you create slides in Microsoft Word? Probably, but it would be really hard. Same thing with these virtual event platforms. Really got to dig in, look at each one. Don't try to make it into something it's not. Try to understand, what does this particular platform really do best, and find the one that fits the type of event that you want. Okay, which brings me to my next lesson learned. What is Zoom? What Zoom is and is not. what Zoom is and is not. Okay, when do you use Zoom and when do you don't? And why didn't I just use Zoom for my virtual summit? Okay, great question. Zoom, like we're using it today, is fantastic for your team meetings, for your company team sales meetings. It is fantastic for a webinar, a town hall like we're doing here today, or an educational webinar type of event. And yes, you can use it for a conference too. Of course you can. But you're not going to have the same kind of interaction thread where people can have those hallway conversations, because you don't have a central place where everyone is communicating. And that's what an app like a Whova does for you. Now, I'm not an affiliate with them. I get no commissions. I get no referrals. I get nothing from them. So this is not anything. There's no business interest here whatsoever. I'm just telling you what my experience was. Here's what I have learned though. If you try to take Zoom and embed it inside one of these conference apps like a Whova, oh buddy, are you going to crash and burn? It doesn't work. Zoom does best when you watch Zoom, you do a Zoom through the Zoom app, just like you're doing it now. You're watching the Zoom app either on your iPad, on your mobile phone, on your computer, but you're using the native Zoom app loaded on one of your devices to participate in our town hall. The minute you take a Zoom, a live Zoom, and try to embed it in one of these other third-party apps, and they all tell you that you can do this, that's the moment that your audio and your video fall apart. Now, I've experienced this as a speaker and as a host. So don't do that. What we found that worked flawlessly for our event was Vimeo. So if you're familiar with, of course, YouTube. So with YouTube, you can do a paid streaming service with YouTube, but you can also, YouTube's competitor is Vimeo, Vimeo. For about $75 a month that you have to pay upfront for the year ahead of time, so it's about a $600 license, you can have a paid Vimeo streaming license. And that's what we use to live stream all our content inside Whova. And we had zero degradation of our video content because we did not try to use Zoom to do it. The only thing we used Zoom for all day was the meet the pros at the lunchtime sessions, where people were hopping in and out of meet the pros small discussions where their cameras were turned on and they were having meetings like a team meeting. And that's where you would use Zoom. And those occurred outside of Whova using the native Zoom app. And that worked really, really well. So for you, if you were going to do a 1-hour realtor education event as a offering to your realtor community in lieu of some kind of realtor cocktail event that you can no longer hold at your model home, Zoom might be a perfectly good platform for you to use. Everybody's familiar with it. It's great on a mobile phone, done. But if you wanted to hold more like a half-day event and you wanted to get some sponsors and you wanted to create more of a sense of community, then you might want to get one of these virtual summit pieces of software and then use a streaming product like a Vimeo paid streaming to stream that content into that app, if that makes sense. Okay. You can still have within the app itself, you can have the chat, you can have the Q&A, you can have everything you want. So it just depends on what kind of experience you're trying to create. And that's why I brought that point up first, is you've got to be crystal clear on what is it that we're trying to recreate here. Are we trying to recreate an expo hall? Are we trying to recreate a breakout session or a CE class? Or are we trying to recreate a mixer or a cooking class in our model home for home buyers? You know, what kind of experience do we want to recreate in person, virtually? And then which platform or type of platform is going to work best for us? And if you're not sure, send me an email. I'll be more than happy to tell you give you my 2 cents. I've learned a lot about all these platforms and trying to figure all of this out. Okay. So what Zoom is a great meeting. Okay. With Blue again, it's a great meeting and webinar tool. What it is not is a very good live streaming video tool when you try to embed it into other products. Okay. Okay, next one. AV support, cha-ching. Okay. Everybody has this idea, I guess, that, oh, a virtual event, we'll put that on and we'll save thousands of dollars because we don't have to rent a ballroom at a hotel. True. We don't have to do a lot of expensive food and beverage. True. We don't have to pay the speaker. Not true. And we don't have to do, you know, a lot of the things that come with a traditional in-person event. And some of those things, yes, you will be able to save those dollars. However, do not go cheap on your AV, audio visual. Okay. One of the best things we did was hire a virtual summit / event audiovisual company to run our summit. They did all the pre-production. They ran it all day long. It went flawless because they knew what they were doing. I had a good sense of what we were doing, but they really knew what they were doing. And if anybody needs a referral to them, I'd be happy to make it. But you don't want to cheap out on that. And it costs more than you think it does. It's actually a lot more work than you think it is, because there's a lot of video creation. You'll want your little thing to open up with some kind of video before you get going. You'll need graphics created. You'll need logos. Like, it's a very visual thing, and all of that is time and work, all of it. So you need somebody experienced. And here's the other thing. You want an AV person who, oh, I wrote worth it. Cha-ching, but worth it, worth every penny of it. But whoever you hire for your AV support for your virtual event, whatever app they are comfortable working with. So like the company, when we hired the company we hired, they are the ones that said, we've worked with this platform called Hoova. It's the one we know. It's one we've recommended. It's the one we've had success with. I didn't then go, oh, well, I want to use this one over here that they've never used before. It's like making a Ford mechanic work on a Ferrari. You know, you don't do that. So whomever you hire for AV, if they are familiar and comfortable with a particular piece of software for your virtual event and it feels like a good fit, that's what you want to do. Or if go the other way, if you have an app that you feel strongly about is the right fit for your type of event, then find the AV support that's an expert with that. But I feel like the two things really have to go together, because the whole time they're working your event, they have to know how to troubleshoot problems that come up with that app as it happens. Okay. All right. Next, free versus paid. Okay, this is important. A free virtual event versus a paid virtual event. We did a paid virtual event. There's not really a right or wrong here. Just understand this. If you go free, you'll probably end up with about a 30% show up rate. Womp, womp. I know. Everybody assumes it's going to be recorded. And there's really no reason not to, because you're going to extend your reach and to send the recording out afterwards. I mean, if you want to take a risk and say, we're not recording this, show up or else, I mean, you could do that and you probably would get a better turnout rate, but it's a risk, right? So, you know, you got to make that call. But if you go free, I'm telling you, you'll be lucky to get live 30% of the people who RSVP for it. And they'll have every intention of coming, but stuff happens. We all do it, right? So just know that you won't get as many. If you go paid, you won't get as many total RSVPs, but depending on the price point, you'll get a pretty good 80, 75, 80% show up rate. So that's what we ended up with. We ended up with a really strong show up rate. And to me, again, why that matters is I wanted people there on the day. Again, I had an idea in mind of the experience I wanted to create, and I couldn't create that without some bodies attending and engaging and chatting and asking questions and making it feeling like we were all there in a convention center having a good time and talking to each other like we were in Sales Central at the Builder Show. And I needed people to show up for that to happen. So, again, what experience do you want? And then you decide, is that a free or is that paid? There's pros and cons to either one. Okay. Second to last one. So we're coming up on segment number 2. So if you are a volunteer, went blue again. If you're a volunteer, get ready. Okay. You can't over promote. You can't. I'm telling you, I do marketing for a living. Oh my God. You guys, I know you were so sick of my posts. I know I emailed the living, you know what, out of you. Like, I promoted this thing. I was exhausted by the amount of promotion I did. And I still was a little surprised on what our final numbers were. I mean, they were good, but they weren't like, right? So it's going to take a lot more promotion than you think it's going to. And your primary vehicle is going to be email. Social media does not put butts in seats. It does not. This was true when we did in-person education events back when I used to tour, doing the sales rally shows with Melinda and John and Kerry and Leah and all those shows we used to do. It was true then, and it's true of virtual shows, virtual events. It creates FOMO, it creates buzz, it creates awareness. Email is what puts butts in seats, in person or virtual. So Angela can coach you on how not to be obnoxious with your email and how not to overdo that. But I'm telling you, it's going to take a lot more promotion than you think it's going to. So you're going to really need to plan that out and be very disciplined about counting it down and having way more promotion than you think to get a good turnout. Okay, last one. Here we go. Okay. This one's probably went blue. Okay, this is our most important one. Content and delivery matters. Content and delivery, peanut butter and jelly, chocolate and peanut butter. What are all the magical things that come in pairs together? Wine and chocolate. I don't know. What are all the famous pairs that go together? Somebody chat me in some famous pairs of things. I must be hungry because all my things are food related at this moment. But I can't even stress to you, content and delivery. At the end of the day, your event will be judged on the overall experience that people had based on how well you used their time. I like this. Cheese and crackers, Ross and Rachel, Nutella and anything. Good one. Chip and salsa, Mork and Mindy. Good. You guys have got some good ones. How well did you use their time? Did you waste their time? first of all, because it's virtual, they're just going to turn you off. So you're not even going to get a shot at wasting their time, because if it's a waste of their time, bye-bye. Even if I paid for it, if I didn't pay a lot for it, it's just not worth it, right? But in the world of virtual, you just have such a short window to prove that you have something of value to say. I did a presentation at the summit on virtual presentations that you can access. I also did one for Lasso that you can get from their website recently on virtual presentations. So there's 2 of them out there that will help you and will coach you on how to deliver compelling virtual presentations. But it is this fine line of content and delivery. All right. So it's not just being an expert. A lot of you are wonderful experts on sales and marketing in the home building industry, but it's also being able to keep somebody's attention. And that is hard in a virtual environment. So if you're going to take something like this on, when you're first starting out, start out with short presentations, go for small segments, involve a number of people to keep it moving and keep people's attention. And we could do more on that. If this is a topic that interests you, we could do more on this in future town halls. Certainly, this is something I could coach you on. But this does get down to truly the experience matters. It really does. And the overall experience of the virtual event, is it fun? Yes. But on the other hand, the experience is, did you use my money? But more than my money, did you use my time wisely? And in order for you to use my time wisely, I needed to either learn something new, I needed to remember something I used to know, but I forgot, but then I got reminded of it. And I'm okay with that. I don't mind that I used to know it, because if I forgot it and you reminded me of it, that's actually helpful. So that's good. Or I needed to get reconnected to somebody that I want to know in the future, a connection, a relationship. That's using my time wisely. So it's not that you have to necessarily teach me something. You can also connect me to somebody, but you got to do one of those 2 things to basically use my time wisely. So that's what makes good content and delivery. And if you can do all of that in an educational, fun way, yay, you're winning, hashtag. Okay. All right. So that is segment number 1. So now we are going to move to segment number 2. So Angela, do we have a couple of volunteers that want to talk about sales and marketing priorities for 2021? You are welcome to unmute them and pop their videos up on the screen. I'm going to talk about a couple priorities that I've got listed while you kind of work on that, and I'll just keep talking till some people pop up. Come on, people, I want to hear from you. Okay, so one of the top priorities that Meredith Communications is working on for our clients, and some of you that our inner mastermind groups have heard this, and I apologize for the duplication. Oh, Angela, I heard you come off mute. Do you need me?
Oh, no, sorry. I just can't. Ryan is up there. Ryan is up there ready to go.
Okay, perfect. Bring him on in. That's cool. I don't see him yet. Oop, there you go. Perfect.
Here I am.
Hey, Ryan, how you doing?
It's good.
Hey, all right. So let me introduce you to everyone. This is Ryan Kays, and he is the online sales counselor with Lifestyle Home Builders in Richmond, Virginia. You guys build a second-time move-up home, right, in Richmond?
It could be a second time, yeah. In some of our communities, it could be their first home, but yeah.
Okay. You're generally priced where? About 500s?
Actually, yeah, with actually the month that we've been in, we're starting to get up even a little bit higher. We can see an average of around 550, 600 even in some of our communities.
Okay, nice, nice. And prior to being at Lifestyle as the OSC, you've been in on-site sales for another builder, right?
Yep, that is correct. Yeah, so I spent 3 years doing on-site sales, and then I got the opportunity to work with Lifestyle. And as COVID hit, I morphed into this online role.
Yeah. And just so everybody knows, Ryan was a very willing participant at the Growth Summit. He hosted a Meet the Pros for me at our lunchtime thing. He did one of our Power 15 interviews. So thank you. You're always very good to volunteer. I appreciate you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's always fun.
Yeah. So, okay. So, what are some of your top sales and marketing priorities for next year that you guys are
Yeah,
focusing
so
on?
let me just go with like the sales side, I guess. So because I have a lot of experience in sales, but then I also am very tech heavy. That's kind of my and when everything started, I think this happened across a lot of companies. At least we all started really pushing that pendulum to the other side. Like, what are we going to do? And just seeing all these great ideas of how we could stay engaged and in front of our customers. And with that, the pendulum probably swung a bit far, and we probably started adopting processes or new softwares that either aren't being utilized or aren't being adopted. So when the new year comes, I imagine it's going to be just a natural refresher, and we're going to be able to take a step back and catch our breath and really take a look. Are we using these processes, these new software adaptations? So I think that's going to be something that we do. Is while we want to continue pushing and finding the next great thing, it's we're going to have to reevaluate like everything that we've taken on throughout this special time. Is it really the most practical use of our time? So both sales are strong, and we're seeing that. I think we're also going to have to reevaluate our floor plans now that people are having a lot more working from home. I imagine builders are going to want to start to dabble in different layouts, maybe a second office or a space for learning for the kids. So I imagine we'll start to see that, and definitely get maybe some surveys out there. I could also see us taking a look at the major employers into our areas and seeing, are they bringing people back into the office, or are they committing to a full work from home as we transition into these new floor plans?
Yeah, and I think you make a really good point. So, if what I heard Ryan saying is, all of you listening, you may have taken on a lot of new things in 2020, and this is a time right now to look at those things and say, okay, are we using each of these things to their best, highest use? Are we really using them correctly? Are we using them efficiently? Are we using them in the best way possible? Is that kind of what you're trying to say, Ryan?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What I was about to say when you just first came on, Angela, go ahead and pop the next one up while you're at it. What I was about to say when you popped on was, we're focusing a lot on appointment setting and the whole online calendar thing. And I know that's something we're working with you guys on, and several of our other builders, is this idea of getting on the website online appointments where people can request an online appointment from their OSC right on the website. And then the OSC takes that online appointment request, coordinates it with the on-site agent, and then goes ahead and books that right then and there. And it's powerful. We've rolled it out with a number of our builders. We're kind of working our way through all our different websites one at a time, trying to get this rolled out. But we've got people setting 25, 30 appointments a weekend. I mean, these are big markets with a lot of communities, obviously, but online appointments is big. But to your point, Ryan, what it requires then is all the salespeople have got to have an online calendar. We've all got to talk to each other. And that's, that's a bit of a stretch.
Offices are always a bit of a challenge, but once you get it going and enough people get into it, the rest follow in suit. So it'll
Yeah,
work.
it will. It will. All right, Ryan. Well, thank you very much for popping in and chatting with me. I appreciate it. All
You're
right. So
welcome.
let's
Bye.
see. Who do we have up next? Anybody else want to talk? I would love to hear what your other priorities are. So, yeah, if you, as a sales manager listening, if you have not moved your sales team to a required shared online calendar, it's time. It's time. I had a sales manager ask me the other day, well, how do I make them do it? A lot of them don't have a calendar. And I was like, oh, no, 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 no. They have a calendar. Who in 2020/21 doesn't have a calendar? They have a calendar. It may be Post-it notes, but they have a calendar. They just may not want to share their calendar with you. So they have one. Hey, Ingrid, how you doing?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing really good. It's nice to see you. Welcome to
You
Builder
too.
Town Hall.
Thank you. I was not camera ready today, but I am now.
Here you are. Well, thank you for
Angela.
plunging into Builder Town Hall.
Yes.
So, tell me, what are some of your top priorities for going into 2021?
You know, I would definitely say, it pains my heart to say this, is I don't have an online sales counselor right now. So we are in the process of actually looking for an online sales counselor and launching that program where I'm at now. So I'm really, really excited at that opportunity. You guys know that that is where my heart is. So there's certainly a lot of missed opportunities for us here with not having an online sales counselor. But more so, really just streamlining a lot of our processes that we have in place. You know, when COVID hit, I think a lot of builders was expecting a big slowdown, when in fact it was complete opposite. Where we are just literally trying to slow down sales, you know, while we are moving 1,000 miles a minute. So streamlining a lot of our processes so that way we can, you know, effectively build our homes and still maintain the same great customer experience that, you know, that we always want to provide to our customers.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things that we found at the Growth Summit was the hottest topic was either get an OSC or improve, enhance current OSC program. The way I refer to it is find the leaks in the OSC bucket. You know, if you've currently got an OSC program, like where are the leaks in your bucket? There's
Right.
probably a couple, even the best ones. All of us can always take it up a notch, right? And I was surprised that there was that much energy around that topic. I mean, gosh, Jen Barkin's on with Do You Convert today? I mean, we've been talking about this stuff for a really long time, but it's still a hot topic. And
exactly. And what I think, you know, what certainly happened, at least what I saw from my team and not having an online sales counselor, is a lot of them had to immediately act like online sales counselors when we all went virtual at the beginning of the pandemic, right? So, you know, allowing them and giving them even some small snippets and tips and tricks on how to be virtual and how to utilize all of this technology, and being flexible with our buyers and our prospects, because let's face it, not all of them want to use video. They only want to use the phone. So even with our on-site sales team, being comfortable with being on camera was a big deal, right?
Big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anything, when I was thinking about my list of priorities that I wanted to suggest in case nobody wanted to jump in this segment with me today, one of my suggestions was going to be #Flexibility Friday. And I wanted to suggest to all of you that as a value or culture, like creating a culture of flexibility in your company, that you adopt Flexibility Friday and you put out on Fridays like a company-wide challenge that you ask people to do something in a different way. So like, on every Friday, put out a challenge. Today, we want everybody to swap your watch and wear it on the other arm all day. That will drive you nuts. In about 2 minutes, you're going to want to put that watch back on the other arm. Just like little fun, like you could Google it and come up with a whole list of stupid little flexibility exercises, because all of us, as this thing continues to swerve, we all need to be more flexible. But that is a cultural value that we have to help our team and our companies develop. So there's a little tidbit for everybody. All right. Well, Ingrid, thank you so much. I think you're absolutely beautiful just the way you are. You're always camera ready to me. So,
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. Thanks, everybody.
okay. Thank you. All right. So I think we've got time for one more, Ange. So if you want to put one more in, and then we're going to go to our Rockstar panel after that. I am so excited. You guys are just doing amazing. Okay, I already have to put my watch back. I can't take it. Clearly, I need to do flexibility Fridays here at Meredith Communications, starting with me, because this is crazy. So yeah, I just think developing a culture of either innovation or flexibility, or even just like Ingrid was saying, developing that culture of being willing to be on camera, of doing videos. So putting out little video challenges once a week for everybody on the team to turn in funny videos, and not even that you're going to publish them anywhere, just getting them used to doing them. That could go a long way. Making it a requirement on your Zoom team meetings. You gotta turn your camera on. I mean, how else are they going to learn how to do some of these things if we don't start requiring it? And we will not discuss the near incident that nearly occurred in my house with me getting dressed and my son homeschooling, virtual schooling, and his camera was on. And I wasn't aware. It was a very close call. I was running some things to the laundry room, but fortunately I was not quite in the camera angle, or the whole 7th grade would have had quite a scene. Whoopsie. So it can happen to the best of us. Oops. And I know better. So, but we all have to learn. We have to start somewhere. Okay. Do we have anybody else, or are we good, or should we start with our panel?
We've got Ashley, but I'm having a hard time unmuting her.
Okay, let me try. Ask to unmute. Okay, Okay, I did it. I think she has to unmute it on her side. Yeah, Ashley, if you can hear us, I think you have to unmute on your end. All right, while she works on that, I'm going to go ahead and get Matt and Kerry going. Here we go, guys. How are you? Come on in.
It scared me.
Welcome.
I know. I feel like I came out of the closet.
I know, right? Well, at least you didn't almost flash the 7th grade.
This is true.
It was a close call, you guys. It was a really close call.
Only you.
But it's a really good story.
Oh, no, it isn't. All right. So here we go, Rockstar panel. I am finally going to shut up and let you guys talk. This segment is, this is a very hot topic on all of my calls with clients. They're asking me for advice, both on the marketing side. So Matt, I'm going to let you start out. And then on the sales side, how do we set and manage expectations with customers with regards to construction timeframes, delays, price increases? I mean, we've now got a boatload of customers under construction. We've got materials that are taking forever to come in, causing delays. Blah, right? What do we do? Take it away.
Yeah, this is absolutely a topic of recent conversation. And I think there's a couple things we have to deal with. I mean, just today, I was on a strategy call, and a builder partner had, they had a new community. The first phase was only 10 home sites. They blew through all 10 of them, and the next phase in their quads. So it's like 55 plus. And so the next phase isn't coming up till like April. And they don't want to lose out on all this momentum. They've got buyer demand. What do we do? So there's even stuff. So I think there's really kind of a two-part piece to this. And so in that scenario, it was, hey, I've been a vocal opponent of this, but if you want to keep the momentum going, you may have to start putting some, material escalator clauses in your contract if you want to go into new phases. I'm normally not a proponent of that because it adds a level of uncertainty to your prospects. Like, what do you mean my price isn't guaranteed? But, if you want to start doing some of those things, that's the type of thing that you got to get a little creative with it, because you got to protect yourself. But from a marketing perspective, like, how do we set the right expectation up front or in general? And I think it starts with upfront. And when that lead comes in, right? I don't think we put it on our in my opinion, I don't think we put it on our website saying like, hey, if you want to talk to us, it's going to be like February. But what we do have to do is we have to, when we actually talk to the human, right? Like if it's the OFC, if it's the salesperson, when we're qualifying the prospect to get them to come out and see us, I think that expectation that expectation has to be set up front, that this is the way it's going to look. Like, we don't want you to just come in to the model home and they're getting ready to write the contract and be like, oh, by the way, I know it's December, but we're not even going to be able to get to your home until April, May, because that's a reality. We've got to set the expectation with the prospect up front and say, hey, Mrs. Customer, due to massive demand, one of the things that we're seeing is we can start taking appointments, and I can see you in 2 weeks, right? Whatever that timeline is for you. I can see you in X time, but due to the unprecedented demand, we're actually not able to even get started. We're not even going to get to your home until February, March, April, May, June, whatever. We've got builders right now who are delivering 2022 closing dates. 2022 closing dates right now.
Yep.
And absolute craziness. And so you've got to set the expectation up front. And you can think that's a little dangerous. Maybe like, oh, we're going to scare them away. But on the flip side, we could create an even greater sense of urgency, right? We could be like, wow, this company is in such high demand for their homes that they've got people that are literally willing to stand in line and wait, right? To get their home. Who, when you see a line of people standing outside of a restaurant, you don't think the food sucks, right? You don't think, I bet they've got a terrible burger. You got people going out the door around the corner waiting an hour to get dinner. And I think that's the kind of approach we have to do it early and often. And then when it comes to the delays, the product delays, I was in Greenville, South Carolina, just like 2 weeks ago. We had finished homes with no stone on the front, right? Because there's delays, right? And so we've got to talk through that and set clear expectations with prospects and our customers when it comes to what they can see. Offer up multiple options. If you're the design center, like, hey, we need to make multiple selections. We need to choose your favorite, but also choose your next two favorites. Because if you don't want to have a delay, we want to have some backup plans available. So those are some of the things that we're talking through now. And I could continue to go on and on, but I don't want to hog I don't want to take anybody.
Yeah, let's get Kerry and Angela in here, Rockstar Panel. But no, you're making a great point. And I think we avoid being direct and transparent because it's uncomfortable. We think we're going to scare someone off, hurt their feelings. But remember, there's not any resale homes to buy either. Inventory's at an all-time low. It's not like they can go and get a resale home either. So, choices are low. So,
right.
Yeah, Angela, Kerry, where do you guys fall
So-
kind of in the sales and customer experience management side?
Yeah, Angela and I kind of overlap in those two thoughts. For me, it's like kind of giving people some tips and tricks on things to say, because when you're frontline and you're in sales, the emails, I mean, everybody that I work with right now, I tell them that consider that you've got an agitated buyer right now, no matter what, on their best day. They're agitated that Thanksgiving wasn't Thanksgiving. Christmas won't be Christmas. I can't go to that restaurant. So expecting this kind of behavior of respect, if you will, they're agitated. They're not even respectful to each other. So they're not going to be to a salesperson. So I think that if you understand that, to Matt's point, I think you have to say it again, but at some point in your notes and things, you need to write it so that they really remember it, because they don't remember. If that online sales counselor does a great job and say, hey, the really great news is that we're busy, and what I want you to know is that we're going to be down the road. I kind of like having them set it up for seasons. The season of moving in summer or next fall or next winter instead of months, because I think it's the months that are getting people in trouble. It used to be when you missed a day, then it was when you missed the week. Now it's the month. So don't be saying March, don't be saying June, be saying summer, be saying fall, be saying winter, things like that. And that's where I think we better define transparency, because you are transparent then that you're saying, we will get you in a home. Our expected delivery is in this season, but in being transparent, if you're the buyer that says, if you can't tell me March, then I'm out. Here's what I want everybody to know. My biggest thing is that not everybody is your customer right now. If you bend over just so far backwards, like my gymnastics daughter, if you go all the way into a full-blown back bend, you're not going to have a happy customer, because there's only so far you can bend and be real. So I just think that you have to know who your customer is, and in your presentation, set them up for a really soft landing, because they're going to start saying nasty things to you. And I'm going to go find someone else, and I can do this. And you just have to support that. Maybe we weren't your builder, set them free, because you know what? You're going to get them back. Just saying, you're going to get them back.
And Angela, don't you think that this is where documentation in the CRM system of exactly what you said is so important in case it does come back and get contentious? Of having those follow-up touch points in writing, of nurturing that customer along, and talk to us about that in this process.
You're muted.
Whoop, let me get her.
Here we go.
I swear to God, before this is over, I'm gonna get a T-shirt that just says "You're muted."
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
I think those
How many
exist.
times? How many times have we said it?
There we go. I've got a house full of people right now. But yeah, no, keeping the notes and understanding the temperature of your buyers, right? I mean, just knowing so that you're not repeating yourself of repeating what somebody else has already said. You don't want to get them agitated. You just got to communicate, content and delivery matters, right, Meredith?
Yes.
And just expectations, managing those expectations right at the very beginning and throughout the entire process, documenting it in your CRM. It is incredibly important. One of the things, and it's a little bit as an aside, my company just went through the Speed of Trust training, and I don't know if any of you have read Stephen Covey's Speed of Trust, but it is a fabulous book and it's a fabulous program all about because that's what you're doing is you're developing trust with your buyers and with your prospects. And that book, and we were fortunate enough to get deck of cards, and I swear I look at those cards every single day.
Oh.
How
Yeah.
do you know, spinning when you're talking, be upfront with your language. People, you know, we're smart enough. We know when somebody's not telling the truth, right? So our buyers are the
Yeah.
same way. So communicate in a upfront, honest way, because we've got to maintain that trust, because when things don't go well, we've got that trust and they trust us to deliver that news.
And
You know, and go ahead, Mary.
Karen, I think most of you listening, it's not that you're trying to be to hide things or
Dishonest.
it's or dishonest. It's the opposite. You're afraid of disappointing someone.
Mhm.
You want to be liked a little bit too much. Oh wait, am I talking about myself? Am I talking from experience here? Yep. Do you know, there are certain personality fears that are baked into some of our personality types, and I'm preaching to the choir here. And I've really just had to learn over time, and as I've worked with clients, and I have definitely found that the more direct I was and the more upfront, and they appreciated that. That's why they hired me, was for me to give them my honest, direct, yes, my radical
yeah.
candor. Oh, that's
Yeah.
one of my favorites.
Yeah.
That's a
Yes.
good one.
That
You
is
know,
one of my favorites, Matt. I love this. This book literally changed my life. It's not an overstatement, because
Yeah.
my screen went blue again. That is so bizarre. Because I was like a little scared to give the feedback loop sometimes, because I wanted to be liked.
You didn't go blue. You know, I think that one of the things that you're all talking about that's important for people in that transparency and honesty and all those kinds of things is this is my gift to salespeople right now. Don't defend your price and don't defend the closing date, because there's nothing to defend. It is what it is. It's not really a price increase. It's a construction cost increase. And so find the right things to say, because these builders are getting this. So it's a construction cost increase. And if you start up front, and Angela and Matt, you guys can jump on this for just a second, because I think what would be helpful is that if we can help people to understand how to build a loyal customer right away, because when someone is loyal, they'll stay with you. And that's a little different than customer care and service, right, Angela? Loyalty goes a long way. So how do you start right up front with loyalty, Matt?
It's building the trust, right? They're not going to be loyal until they trust what you say. Are you doing what you said you were going to do when you said you were going to do it? Or are you actually keeping me in the loop along the way? Are you making me feel like I'm part of this journey?
Yeah, right. Because a loyal person will go with some of the speed bumps, right? A person that says, well, you're not caring enough about me, or you don't care about me as an individual or my home, then their level of saturation is different. This loyal person has a higher level of saturation for understanding than the other individual. And I just think it's the trust. And I think it absolutely starts with the OSC, and it actually starts with your website. Does it say what it's supposed to be? Are you by appointment or aren't you by appointment? You know, is your model open or isn't it? I mean, right from the beginning, your word is just worth everything right now.
Totally agree.
Yeah, the transparency equals the trust equals loyalty. The loyalty means I'm along for the journey. One of our most successful clients is really going for 2021. Their whole marketing campaign is based on the journey, and it's go along on the journey with us. Take the journey. Your home buying journey begins here, and they're structuring their home buyer workbook and everything on this journey principle. And it's really cool to watch them develop it. And people are only going to be willing to do that regardless of delays and construction increases. I learned something today.
I love
Yeah.
that.
I know.
That is
And
gold,
it-
Jerry, gold.
It's a cost. It's a cost of doing business.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really good. But people are only going to go on that journey with you if they trust you.
Correct.
Well, and are you showing the value? Like, is your product there? Because then they're going to look at that and say, okay, well, why don't I just go over here and buy this existing home? I don't have any, can I find it? Right. But is your product up to snuff? Because I think that this is the time where we as builders can think, if I just build it doesn't have to be that great. They will come because of low inventory. But when you're asking someone to stick around for a year and not know how much they're end up going to pay and pay more, then you've got to be giving them something that they cannot get for less right now.
And you know what they can't get less of? Think of this one for all of us and how we've done this so many times, perspective. Think about when each one of the three of us have had to call the other one to get perspective. Like, am I out of line on this one? Yeah. Am I blowing this out of proportion? And so as a sales counselor, confidant, are you putting in perspective that 30 and 60 days for real, you want to cancel and lose some earnest money for that? Because in a year, when you let us build our home the way we build our home best, in our process, so we can deliver what we're proud of, you will never remember those 60 days. And all of a sudden this like really ticked off person can go, I'm so glad you put that in perspective for me, because 60 days tomorrow is nothing. So I need to minimize it today like it's the big deal.
Yeah.
Well, and Kerry, that is not just a sales spin. That is 100% truth, because my new construction home ran 60 days late.
Oh,
and I will
talk to you all the time.
And I will tell you, I go around every single day saying, if I have to be locked down someplace, I have never been so glad to be, social distancing someplace that I love more than this house. Like, I truly love this home that we're in, and I am so thankful to be in it. And honestly, those 60 days that I had to spend per night in an Airbnb, I really rarely ever think of them. Really.
You don't anymore. You don't remember the pain of having the baby. You remember the baby.
It was, well, no, I remember that. That's why
that's
there's only
design,
one.
Right?
That's what there's
Do
only
you
one.
remember that, Matt?
I have a hard time remembering that part.
But it's true. I've never been so thankful for this house. It's perfect for us to be socially distant. Everything we've had to do, the 2 offices, the whole thing, it's ideal. And I would do those all of that over again. You bet. So you're 100% right. That's not
perspective.
Just perspective.
And you have to give them a story. If you're in the sales world, give an application to that feeling, just like you said, to make someone realize you are absolutely right. And to Matt's point, you have to show someone while they're in the model talking about, I'm not going to close on time, right? To say, let me show you something. It takes time. Take them up to some of the craftsmanship in the home. Take them up to a miter joint that fits perfectly and say, it takes time to do this. And we appreciate you giving us the time to do it. What the hell are they going to say next to you when you say, we appreciate you're giving us the time to do this in your home?
No, please make mine crooked and hurry up.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, right now you're talking about we're in the midst of phase 2 of COVID, right? So, well, let me talk to you about how you're not going to be able to retrofit that existing home for a whole home filtration system, right? You're not going to be able to slap a MERV 16 filter in this HVAC system, right? Like, you're not, because the system's not designed to do it. You're not, and so those are the things you're not going to be able to do unless you spend $15,000 and rip it all out. of that existing home. So I mean, yes, too, it takes time to do these things, but what was your original pain point from the very beginning? Why did you decide to buy this home? And why did you decide to buy this home site? And revisiting why they made that decision in the very beginning.
We just nailed it. It's perspective. We have to help give them perspective to the situation of today and in 1 year from today, when they live in it and enjoy it. We have to help them feel joy in the moment when they're not living in it.
And so,
Angela, your word, joy.
I know.
Right. I know, right? And so as we bring all this together, that's really what we're here for, and why Builder Town Hall exists, is we're here to give you perspective, to be that confidant. You know, Kerry talked about how the four of us are constantly texting each other going, am I out of line? I'm working with this person and this is the advice I gave them, but now I'm starting to think, was that crazy? Like, you know, we check in with each other and make sure, you know, we're giving good advice, you know, no names or anything, but still it's like, and we're here to do that for you. And that's what we're going to do every single month and in the Facebook group. So we look forward to doing that with you and continuing on down this journey. If we need to do more support, if it takes a hard left turn, if something weird happens, we'll pick up the pace. We're just going to keep it in real time and do whatever needs to be done. For now, we're scheduled. We'll see you in January 2021. I know. So our next meeting will be Tuesday, January 5th, 2021. I do not know what the topics are because I barely knew what they were for today, but we did.
Nor did we.
Congratulations on the audience participation portion of the program. You guys did great. It worked. Awesome. You did really good. Good job, Angela, co-producer. You like popped those people right up there.
Yeah.
Awesome. I hope everybody learned something. I'll post the video in the Facebook group. If you're not a member of the Facebook group, join it. That's where the video will be. And I don't know. I'll see you January 5th, 4 p.m. Eastern time. More perspective. Thanks, guys.
More perspective.
Bye.
Bye.